And tonight it is the first Tuesday of the month. So what that means is we are going to be doing some scrapbooking. Okay, so did I say the first Sunday? I've now already, that's what I've said. So I'm gonna be very brave tonight, and I'm actually gonna scrapbook a picture of me, because I think as crafters we very rarely make things for ourselves, and even if we do, if we art journal and things like that, we don't necessarily make stuff with a picture on it. And I also know that a lot of us don't take enough pictures of ourselves. Now, in fairness, this picture of me is a couple of years old. But it's actually probably one of the most recent of me. So I am going to be doing this one. I'm just trying to find the live so I can see any comments. But it's not opening up on my YouTube. Just bear with me. So I hope you're all well. If you're catching up on this later, it has officially been the hottest day of the year here. And to be honest, that barely even covers it. It's absolutely blooming roasting. But there we are. What can you do? Hello, Alison. Hi, Moira. You all right? So we're just going to zoom in a little bit. When I go live on YouTube, it always sort of goes so much wider than I'm expecting. Okay. So like I said, we're going to do some scrapbooking tonight. And I'm going to use this picture of me. I'm still working on sort of like the A4 layout in terms of scrapbooking, because that's what we've done with all of our other pages so far this year. And I'm actually really, really enjoying it. So although we're working with a black and white photograph, I don't want to make the layout black and white. Sorry, bug. I'm going to shut my window. I want to do something quite colourful, but with a black and white photograph, because I think that'll look really, really pretty. All right. So what I've done is I've got my catalyst cards out, and I thought what we'll do is we'll start there and then maybe add in some stamps and things later. But I do want to keep it quite simple. I haven't actually had much of a chance to get in my craft room in the last week. It's just been one of those things. Those of you who have had or have school-age kids, you know what it's like when you get into the last few weeks of the year and there's all these things you have to go to. So it's been quite busy. Not to mention Sam and I have had our week at the bike festival that we always have. Our weekend at the bike festival. We have been working there. We haven't just been doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some strips of paper. And I think I'm going to keep them to the top and try and keep... I'm thinking of a way to do a big sentiment at the bottom, and I'll probably do that using some of the wordage stamps, maybe pieced together. Hi, Maggie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my catalyst cards, and we're going to pick out... So I did have a box with some like extra bits, so I didn't have to cut new ones, but that's obviously gone asunder. So I'm just going to grab a few of these out. Like I said, I won't be using the black and white. I want some full colour. And then we're going to cut these into strips and do something quite fun. I think I want lots and lots of colour on this one, because I think it can look really good against a black and white picture. All right, the first thing I am going to do though is I'm going to layer up my picture. Now for me, when I'm scrapbooking, I personally, and this is not to say everybody should, I find it really important to layer up my photos. Some people don't do that and they do it really, really well and it looks lovely. But when I do it, I feel like it never looks right. So that's one of those. I'm certainly not saying don't do that. I'm saying I don't do it because for me, it never, ever looks right. That's all right, Sammy. You're not really late. It's only a couple of minutes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to layer, because I've got a white background and a black and white photo, I'm going to layer it onto white and then onto black. Or even I could go with another colour, but I'm going to give it that white outline first to give it just that bit. Now, I have actually found in my craft room rejig the most part of it was actually done last week, last Monday and Tuesday. So I'm hoping the lighting looks a bit better because I've redone some of the lighting. But I did actually find a brand new glue stick, which is very, very handy for scrapbooking, I think, and keep everything sort of dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this. So like I said, when I'm adding on a frame or a layer, and I do this when I'm card making as well, I'll actually stick, rather than cut all the pieces separately, I'll stick the item I'm wanting to layer down, and then I only have to cut 2 sides. And it gives you a really good... So for example, if you then now sit that on a pattern paper, it really sort of pops out from the page and doesn't sink into it. Okay, really, really nice. You could cut it down as well. It's actually quite a big... This 6x4 is actually feeling... The photograph is actually feeling quite big for this A4. But we're gonna stay with it. We are going to stay with it. Okay, and then I've got some black... And you know what? I am going to layer it on the black, and then I can do my sentiment in black as well. So let me just move my trim out of the way just a second. And then we'll get my glue stick back. Hello, Maxine. Hello, anyone else I've missed. Okay, I'll get my glue stick back. And again, we're just going to put that down there. It doesn't have to be a big border at all. It can just be a really sort of thin, almost pinstripe border. Okay, and then we'll lift that up, put that on here. I need to change my cutting strip in this trimmer. But that is a problem for another day, not today. So how are we all? It is the 1st of the month, and that means Sally has put a new challenge up in the Bee Crafty Stamps group. Please take part in the challenges if you're able. If you're struggling to come up with some inspiration, make sure you check out the Bee Crafty blog. The design/creative team put some fantastic step-by-steps on there, which will definitely help you if you're struggling for ideas. Okay, so let's go. Just do that. So that on there, and I'm thinking that's about where I'm going to put it. I know this is sort of a running theme for my pages, but that's where I like them. So there we are. All right, so what I am going to do is I'm just going to put a little paper clip on that to hold it down while the glue dries. Do the same. Okay, so on here we're going to be going for some strips, like I say, of the coloured paper, and I'm going to do these in different lengths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a few different ones. I think we want at least 4, don't we? Different colours. And do you know what? I'm going to go with the bigger sheets, because then I can snip them down and alternate them. All right. So the challenge for this month on the Bee Crafty Stamps group is vintage. Okay. Now the beautiful thing about that, obviously, is if you have the Catalyst cards, for example, the Ledger ones, they've already got that beautiful vintage look to them. But bear in mind, vintage doesn't necessarily mean brown. Okay. So you could, I think I'm going to go in 1 centimetre strips. You could do some bright and then distress it with sandpaper. Catalyst card is brilliant for that, by the way. So 1, 2. Do you know what? I'm going to do 3 strips from each paper and see how that does us. Okay, I'm actually going to avoid that blue one just for now. So, you know, don't think vintage just means using your brown tones and things like that. You can, of course, go with your brights, sandpaper it down, give it a different look, use book pages, maps, anything like that. So we did do something similar with the strips before, but that was just on like a blue page. So whereas this one I wanted to use a lot more colour. All right. Yeah, So I apologise for being a bit MIA on Facebook the last couple of weeks. It's just been one of those. I'm not going to give you excuses, but I promise I've had reasons. You see, this is working out quite well because these diamonds are just sort of sitting in that 1 centimetre bracket, aren't they? 3 of those. See, I have got my glue stick, but I am wondering with my strips if it would be easier just to use a wet glue matte medium. But we'll see, we'll see. This is also a great layout to do if you have cut off bits, you know, extra, you want to clear out your scrap box, that sort of thing, because it just uses them. So, but bear in mind as well, with your Catalyst card, you can put other colours over the top. You can create that overlayer if you want to sort of tint them in a different way. You know, just use your distress inks. If you're using a water-based ink like Dilution, something like that, I would give them the light sand first. Okay, so let's have a little look here. So, how we could lay these out. So we'll do that one. That one. And I'm not, this isn't sort of fixed necessarily as to how it's going to be. It's just sort of lay it out. And this is why I love having cut out bits, so you can really have a play with them and see how you want them to go. However, I will have to keep them in the same pattern of how they're going. Do you know what I mean? One of these, one of these, one of these, one of these, and so on. But again, that's not to say you should do that. Okay, that was going so well. I just want to make sure it doesn't have to actually be the layout as such. I just want to make sure that I have cut enough strips, which I think I have, with a little bit of room to spare actually. So that's good. Right. Now, I'm not also going to have all these the same length. I want to adjust them and make them a little bit varied. Okay, I think I will stick with the glue stick as much as possible, but we'll see. All right, so first of all, I am going to get some scissors. I have to say, my decoupage scissors have not resurfaced in the craft room move around, which is a bit weird because I've moved the desk and everything. But there we are. So I'm going to take the white top off this one on the bottom, and this one I'm going to do, let me just get a scrap piece of paper to do this gluing on. It's going well, it's going well. Okay, because I'm going to do this one full length, just in from the edge, because I'm going to leave a sort of white border around. So I'm going to run that down, and that one I'm going to stick on there. Okay, now this one, I'm going to take the white top off the bottom, but I'm going to take 2 fingers worth off. I think my new glue stick's run out already. It obviously wasn't as new as I thought. typical. Right, so what I am going to try and do, and no, I'm not going to measure it, is keep all of these strips sort of equidistant. Now, in all honesty, I had planned actually to make them a lot shorter, but I like it. I might make them shorter as I go across with the occasional longer one. Right. So I think it's safe to say my glue stick is certainly not going to last the length of time I need it to. So I might as well just get a brush now. So I'm going to be soft enough. Or should I get a little foam brush? Give it a little even coat. Right, which one was next? Because I've now picked up two. And I haven't cut either of them down. I don't know, I get ahead of myself sometimes. So after blue, it was the clocks. It wasn't, was it? Right. Do you know what? I'm just going to go for it. We can sort it out when we get to the end of this run. So this one, I'm going to take 3 fingers off. And again, I'll use all those little bits on something else. I might even use them on the bottom. We'll see. We'll keep them separate for now. So I'm just going to put a light coating, a matte medium. Again, keeping that little border at the top. And then put that down. So we'll do that one, and then we'll do the clock. What I'll do with this one though is I'm going to take that one back to 2 fingers. You could of course measure this if that is your inclination. If you are new here, I am not a patient crafter. I like results. I like them quite quickly. But that doesn't mean I judge you if you are one. I actually quite admire it. It's okay. Those ones. So which one haven't we done yet? We haven't done that one. Put that back in there. I believe that puts me back in the correct order. Okay. So I'm going to take the end off that one. I'm actually going to take a little bit more than the end because this has a white, so I can't see it. And I'm going to go back to, I might take 4 of this one. Make this one quite short. And as you can see, I am putting them obviously closer together than when I was first laying them out. So this is why I don't put my papers away that I've used. I mean, those who know me well don't know that I don't really put much away. But specifically, I don't put them away in this situation in case I need to trim some more strips. And it is also why I do try and do, if I'm cutting the strips, I do try and keep them a relatively regular width, because that way I know what width I'm making to catch them all back up again. So I'm just going to carry along and do some more. If you are catching up later and you want to fast forward this bit, I totally understand. If you are watching live with me now, you do sort of have to wait till I'm finished, but if you want to go and get yourself a drink, that's absolutely fine. But make sure you leave the live running. If you switch it off, YouTube will think it's rubbish and won't tell anyone it's here. Okay. Hi, Dominique. And anyone else again that I've missed? So I'm just going to snip that one right there. I mean, I think the thing is with photos, we don't print them enough anymore. It's become so easy to take photos, which, by the way, is a brilliant thing. Okay? There is literally not a day goes by that I do not take a photo on my phone, like a photo of the kids or the dog or something I've made or an idea I've got and I send to the creative team or to Sam or whatnot. There isn't a day go by I don't take a photo, and it's a brilliant, brilliant thing. And not all photos need to be printed, i.e. silly photos of things I've made going, do you think this is going to be a good idea, to the creative team. But I think there's lots of photos that we probably should be printing that we're not. So I think sometimes just setting... So I'm doing scrapbooking on the first Tuesday of every month at the minute, which is the most I have scrapbooked in the past few years. But obviously here on YouTube, in terms of lives, that will only be 12 a year. But like I say, that's still more than I was doing before. I meant to cut this in half. I'm going to go to there. Actually, no, I'm going to embrace it because I don't want to. My photo is going to be over that bit anyway. It's wonky. I'm being punished for not doing it properly. Oh. That one was being challenging for no reason. So if you can, set yourself a challenge to at least do one, maybe a month. Because if nothing else, like I say, it's more. So this month, I would like you, as well as doing Sally's challenge, that one's most important as well. Do yourself, find a picture of yourself. See, that's not even sticking. It's being very reluctant. Doesn't want to be there, does it? Let me cut that off. Try to see if you can find a picture of yourself. Doesn't have to be a new one. It can be an old one. Just a picture of yourself. Doesn't have to be a full one. As you can see on mine. Mine is mostly made up of my hair. You know. Which I strongly consider to be my one redeeming feature. When it works. Which isn't all the time. My hair really does have an absolute mind of its own. It's a separate entity. And in fairness, it does actually have its own microclimate, you know, so those with long hair know the struggles of the past few days. Those with long, really curly hair really know. Honestly. It's like, oh, your hair's so lovely and long. Yes. And I'm currently, persistently wearing it in a knot on top of my head. Because it's literally the only thing I can do to survive. So it's I remember when we first started on Hachanda, I wanted to wear my hair down because I think I look nicer with my hair down, and I was going to be on telly. So I wanted to wear my hair down, but it was so hot. It was so hot, and I ended up asking them to put fans on and all this sort of thing, which obviously has its own added problems when you're dealing with paper. And poor little Alex Turchin, who is teeny, bless her, she had to wear a cardigan. I did tell them they could turn it off, and she was like, no, it's fine, it's fine. I'm always cold. And she always had to wear a cardi. She was always cold anyway. But I must admit, she must have saw me coming and going, oh, crikey, here we go. I've got to wear a cardigan. Which, you know. You're always behind the camera. Well, there you go then. You need to take a selfie. I mean, it's a real life word in the dictionary now, selfie. Take a selfie on your phone. Print off a little selfie. Right, so I'm one piece short. This is going to be one of those cut-off bits. Look at that. Ace. Okay, so let's put that over there. Move my little glue sheet over to the side. Okay, so we can see we've got all of our strips here. And now I'm going to put our picture on. I actually might. No, I'm not. So I should have made some of those shorter, really, because it sort of loses something in there. But yeah, is what it is. I'm okay with it, and I think it looks really, really good. Okay, which I'm really, really, really happy with. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to some of my stamps, and I think this is either going to be a Journaling Essentials or a Doodle Art requirement, because what I want... Ooh... So that Journaling Essentials might do it. Ooh, that Journaling Essentials might do it. So that's number 4. So I've got number 8 and number 4. And I'm going to go with number 3. But I have also, just in the last 30 seconds, decided I'm going to take some of the little ones and put them at the bottom. Again, making sure to leave a little bit of a border. I'm just going to put a few, not many. And it's because I wanted to do some small stamped things on the ends of these paper strips. And if I only have those ones, it's not going to be enough. What I want to do. That's why I should have made sure those ones were smaller. But it's done now. So I'm going to go with... it doesn't matter. I've told you which Journaling Essentials I've got out. You can grab whichever of yours you like. Or like I say, because obviously there's lots of small stamps on Doodle Art too. So you could, you know, if Doodle Art's more your thing, grab some Doodle Arts and go with there. I'm going to grab, I've got a little stack of Mini Distress that still haven't been put away in the big desk clear up 2025. So what have we got here? We've got a blue, we've got a pink, got another blue, got a wilted violet. Oh, we have got a green and a mustard seed. Well, what else could you need, really? Okay, so I'm going to go with a little wilted violet, and I'm going to put that on the end of there. And then I'm going to go to this one. And I'm going to get that little doobery with the green. Ooh, nearly dropped it. And put that on the end of there. See, these little stampies here, they were just waiting for their perfect moment. And this is it. See, this one's going to be a little bit bigger, so I'm hoping it's going to fit. I don't really care if it doesn't. And I'm going to go with picked raspberry. I'm going to put that on the end of there. And then again, off this Journaling Essentials, let's go with a Blue Lagoon. That was a mustard seed, so that's what we're going to go with instead. On there. These little lines could be good. Let's do those in a Blue Lagoon. Just little fun things. And this is one of those. Why? Because I want to. End of sentence. And then this one here. And I'm actually going to change colour for that one. I'm going to do another one of those there. And then we'll go for another pink raspberry. I can't remember if this one gets seen, so we'll do that one up here. And we'll do a mustard seed there. And these little squares, because they're fun, will go in with the mowed lawn. But as well, what these other little stamping bits can do is they can almost reiterate that we're using lots of colour. Okay, so just in case it hasn't been noticed, you know, now we've definitely got lots of colour sat on. So I'm going to put those back on there. I'm going to be very good, and I'm not going to go right till I'm going to put them away, but I am going to put them back in their Journaling Essentials box. All right, and get my wordage stamps out, and we're going to have a look. I would like some big words, or I could obviously use my typewriter alphabet. So let's get that out while I'm thinking. I have a couple of those. I have a tendency to lose letters. Or do I go with Sam's handwritten ones? Because I do think these look really, pages, especially like self-portrait pages, look really nice with handwritten things, but my handwriting is atrocious. It's actually not atrocious, that's not true at all. But I am not, unfortunately, that's going to sound terrible. I grew up in a house where all three people I lived with had fantastic handwriting. So, unfortunately, I was the weak link. Okay, so I'm thinking on Sam's handwriting sentiments, where it says you only live once. If you get it right, that's all you'll need. I think that under a self-portrait is rather poignant. So let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to risk it for a biscuit, and we're going to try and stamp it directly on first. Okay. Now, obviously, if this doesn't work, I'll layer something over the top. So it actually doesn't matter. It's success. Whilst I would prefer it, is not the end of the world if it doesn't. Okay. So we're gonna tap that, tap 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 tap, and then we're gonna tap a couple times more just to make sure. All right, and then we're gonna turn that over. The big thing for me is that I want to get it straight. So I'm stamping on my super skinny slim. All right, so I'm gonna just make sure I've got an even pressure in the middle. Just give it a little flex to make sure that I have got it in all the right places, and then straight off. Huzzah! I know. Right. So that's really, really cool. But what I'm also going to do, if I can find where I put that particular folder that I had in my hand earlier on today, my wordy stickers, I was going to put like an accompanying sentiment underneath in the black stickers. So let's have a look at this. This is wordy stickers number 1. We're going to go with Give It Everything, because I think that works. Give it everything. And I've just ripped it a little bit, but that's okay. I miss my good scissors. And that's just going to be a little extra. We're going to give that a bit of a dib dab dab dab. The heat is just something else, isn't it? The problem is, obviously, when the Met Office is putting on the temperatures and whatnot, you have to bear in mind, these are all shade temperatures and whatever. So in the sun, it's just something else. And whilst we're a bit off topic and we're talking about the sun, I'm one of those people that threatens people when they walk the dog when it's too hot. Like full on, I'll put your face on the pavement. Why? Why do people do it? I don't know. Do you want to see something fun? When I was cleaning up, as in resorting, this is how many loose Secura microns I have. I have a Secura micron box, but these were just floating all around. So now they're in a little jar, because I haven't even put them back in a box yet. So whilst they're out, we might as well use them. So I'm going to go with a number 3 black Pigma micron. Okay, and we're going to go all the way around. But I'm not actually going to, am I? No, I'm not. I'm not actually going to interfere with where the paper strips are. Okay, I'll just do a little one there. If you're not confident doing that, of course, you could use some of the accessory stamps. And then I'm going to get some 3D foam. Stick my picture on. Give it a little bit of dimension. And if you are using 3D foam, it is important to make sure that you are putting some in the middle of your item as well. Now, if you are nervous about it not sticking correctly, and you're going to need to lift it off, so you don't like adding that much foam because it might rip something underneath, you're a worrier, which I totally understand. You actually don't have to take the backing off. The center foams, they are literally there to give it just a little bit of support so it doesn't sort of cave. You don't get that concave look because that's not nice. So here we go. I will, because to be honest, even if I got it wrong, I just accept it and carry on. All right, so put that right about there, I believe. And we're going to commit. And I believe I have just managed to make the most non-over-the-top scrapbook page I've ever made in my life. But I actually really like it. I think it's fun. You could obviously add more to this if you wanted to, but I'm actually going to leave it as it is. I think the sort of paper ribbon effect looks really pretty. And you, of course, you could add some stencil work to this. You can big it up, or you could tone it down if you wanted to make, do these strips with your grayscale catalyst cards and sort of just tone it back so it was just in grayscale and black and white. That would totally work too. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm hoping we'll be able to do some more lives on Facebook this week. Sam is a bit of an unknown entity, to be honest, this time of year when it comes to Facebook lives, because she has to do them in her conservatory. And the last time she was supposed to do a live in Crafting Together with All Brands, it was 44 degrees in there. And that's just not safe. So I don't allow it. Absolutely not. But if I can, I will try and get on and do some more lives this week. And I'm also going to get some more uploads to YouTube. So I am back on the Bee Crafty wagon after a little bit of my MIA. Please check out the website. And if you see any Bee Crafty posts, please interact with them in some way. I don't think it's any secret at the minute. I say craft industry, all industries are really struggling right now. But I think, you'll probably all have seen how things are getting more and more difficult. So if you can just interact with our posts, like them, comment on them, that really does help. It helps us be seen, and we really, really appreciate it. Similarly, if you see anybody making stuff with Bee Crafty products, comment on theirs too. It's nice. It's nice to receive a nice comment if you put some effort into something. And also, get started on that Bee Crafty mojo and have a go at Sally's challenge. You could win a voucher. All right. So have a go at something. Find a picture of yourself and make a scrapbook page. Even if it's just a little one in your little journal. Make it really small. That's fine. All right then, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And like I say, we will try and get some more inspiration on for you. But do check out the Bee Crafty blog. The creative team are much better than me. And they're always up to date. Bye-bye.